Captain Tsubasa is like a footballing Bart Simpson in that the series has spanned decades and Tsubasa Uzora is still a child. As of this new release on the Nintendo Switch, Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions, the titular hero of this football game wrapped in a visual novel, should technically be in his 50s and have left the sport he loves long behind. The popular Japanese series was first created in 1981 and has spanned comic books, anime and countless video games across generations of systems, which have all followed a very similar formula. You take control of Tsubasa and guide him through Japanese high school and the football system, playing matches to impress his coaches and the fans alike, whilst at the same time balancing his various friendships with teammates and school friends alike. If you're not familiar with this series, don't go in expecting something like FIFA. Make no mistake, this is a visual novel at heart with sporadic football matches woven into the story. The matches themselves couldn't be called simulations either, as the game interjects cutscenes, some of which are unskippable, into the flow of the match, and there is also the small fact of having to be victorious in each match you play, else it's game over and time to reload and try again. But I'm skipping ahead a little bit here. Let's unwrap some of the content that makes up the game. Firstly, there is the main story mode called The Journey, which comes in two flavours. The shorter Tsubasa mode, where you play as the captain himself and follow the story of Nankatsu Middle School through to the national championships and beyond. This story clocks in at around 6 to 8 hours and is set on a pretty linear path as you complete what's laid out in front of you. The second story mode is far more interesting and dubbed the New Hero mode. This follows on from the Tsubasa story. Though the game recommends you complete the Tsubasa story first, it's not a prerequisite and you can start New Hero at any time and even run two stories alongside each other. In the New Hero mode you create your own character and choose a high school to represent. Whilst it's still a fairly linear story of your journey to the national side, its setup allows for much more freedom as you choose who to befriend, how to grow your character, and with some limited dialogue choices even affect the story to some degree. There are multiple schools to choose from and each having differing versions of the story and characters to unlock, so in terms of single player content you have the potential for many hours just in the journey mode alone. As you play New Hero, you earn points for completing challenges, scoring goals, winning games and so on, and these points can be spent on single-use consumables or packs of cards which may unlock new moves, characters and cosmetic items for your character to use. In terms of the other modes, you can play a single match or create a tournament, practice your skills and even play online with friends in public or private matches. There really is a generous amount of content in this package, which is great to see, especially when more often than not the Switch version of these larger games gets some functionality dropped, so really great job Bandai Namco. No matter which of the story modes you choose, you will encounter long sections of mainly static, albeit beautifully drawn screens with plenty of text to read as the plot plays out. The writing is predictably the underdog story comes good type of thing, but if you enjoy animes in general, you'll be quite comfortable with the over-the-top emotional reactions to events as they play out. You will unlock small animated clips naturally as you work through the game, and whilst not integral to the plot, they are worth watching, especially for newcomers to the Tsubasa series, as they do a good job of explaining some of the more in-depth relationships and events in the Tsubasa universe, and aside from that they're just really well animated and fun to watch. The story does a really nice job of building up each match and makes every team you play feel special and unique. The story will generally focus on one or more of the star players on the opponent's team and how they're going to take down Tsubasa in the next match. These also serve as good hints as to what to expect in the upcoming match. For example, an early match in the Tsubasa mode sees you taking on a team whose star players are twin brothers who specialise in what they call aerial football, so you need to be on guard from high passes towards them. On the pitch the controls are fairly basic, a button for short, long and through ball passes, a shot button and two types of dash. It's this dashing mechanic that really becomes the big focus of gameplay, because each defender has two different types of tackle, a slide and a barge. You can skip by each different tackle attempt if you're using either a basic or an advanced dribble move. It's sort of like rock paper scissors but in football form. Whilst it's possible in time to get a bit of a read on what a tackle a defender is winding up for and react accordingly, early games are quite frustrating as you battle back and forth for possession in midfield and bodies fly left and right like a Millwall Leeds match from 1972. The lack of skill moves beyond the two dash dribbles plus the slight delay in getting passes off means it can be hard to get around the other team with any real skill. Most of my early games involved aimlessly kicking the ball into space and trying to latch onto it, and then barging the defender off the ball and repeating this process until I got a breakthrough. Many of my early games ended 0-0. You do start to improve over time, but as I said at the start, don't be expecting flowing open football like FIFA. During the match, contextual cutscenes can trigger if you're in certain positions or carry out certain actions, which seem cool at first, but after you've attempted to win the same match 5 or 6 times and can't skip these cutscenes, their presence is very much unwanted. But also, it is what you signed up for. Remember, this is a story-driven game, more so than a football simulation. As a big fan of football generally, and preferring my games simulation-based, it was a pretty frustrating experience at times, with the worst part of the matches definitely being the shooting attempts. Shots are powered up similar to FIFA by holding down the shoot button, but it's virtually impossible to aim in specific locations, meaning shots would either bounce straight off the keeper, or if you powered up a particularly strong shot, one of 4 different cutscenes would trigger with the keeper diving to attempt to make a save. These cutscenes only last a few seconds but definitely pull you out of the experience, and whether the ball gets past the goalie or not felt more down to RNG and stats than if you'd executed a good play. The goalkeeper saving the ball was also down to how much spirit the keeper has left. Spirit is a type of stamina each player has and determines how fast they run, how well they can tackle and so on. But in goalkeepers, every shot they save reduces their spirit bar. The lower the bar, the more likely you are to score past them. This generally meant peppering the goal with as many shots as possible to wear the keeper down before going for a big power shot. Most players have their own special moves, either special dribbles, tackles or shots, depending on the type of player, and powering up a shot with a star player will trigger their animal shot with spirits of tigers, bears and the like emerging alongside the blast towards goal. Getting these power shots off can be tricky due to the amount of time you need to charge them, so you have to be clear of any defenders waiting to knock you off the ball. If you can successfully dribble past 2 defenders in succession, you'll have a much quicker charge on your power shot, and finally the spirit the players earn from successful moves all get added to a team spirit bar, which when full you can trigger for a team ability called a V-zone, which usually means faster movement or more successful tackling depending on the zone move you have given to your chosen captain. It all adds up to a compelling and certainly a unique game, and at times it can be absolutely fun to play in these matches, especially as you learn more of your characters and opponents. You become quite attached to them and know what they are capable of and who on the opposition side to look out for. Each match feels very much like an event rather than a mindless slog of 46 games of a league season. For me as a football purist though, I was left frustrated by the lack of control I had at times and the requirement to always win, but your mileage may vary. Presentation wise, it's pretty decent news for the Switch. The overall graphic style is excellent with really nice character work, stadiums and those cutscenes all looking great, although at times there is a fair amount of stutter. I wouldn't say this is a problem with a low frame rate, but the players actually stuttering and flickering across the pitch. Sometimes it felt like they were being forced into the right position if they weren't in the correct place. It's a weird one to explain, but it was quite off-putting at times. Other than that, there was a tiny bit of slowdown during the more effect-heavy cutscenes or stadium pans, but nothing to get annoyed over. Sound and music are okay, with a variety of rock-based music being the main backdrop to the story mode and in matches, and the game does feature commentary during those matches, but the announcer is in Japanese with no option for English language beyond subtitles. So in closing, I found Captain Tsubasa a conflicted mixed bag. I'm not the biggest fan of visual novel games, but I do love football games. The two do mesh together quite well on the whole, but I would say this is aimed more at fans of visual novels than sports games. If you like both genres, then you will get a lot of enjoyment out of it, but for me the dialogue sections dragged on just a little bit too long, and the football sections didn't hold my interest as much as I'd hoped. Overall, it's a very decent package though, with lots of replayable modes, unlockables, customization, online play, and at a price that isn't going to break the bank, but it just didn't quite hit the mark for me. So I'm going to be giving Captain Tsubasa on the Nintendo Switch a 7 out of 10. Well, I hope you enjoyed that review. Thank you very much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and give me a subscribe if you're new here, and drop me a comment below if you're going to be picking this one up or you've played it already. And just wanted to say it's been really nice getting back to doing a review after these sort of tough 6 months and just doing the sort of streaming of games. So hopefully more reviews going forward and more content for you all. So with that said, I'll look forward to seeing you all on the next video. Thanks for watching and see you again soon. Bye bye.